A New York billionaire invited friends to dinner at an exclusive restaurant in Paris. The final bill, $30,000. When asked if the food was really good, he replied with a smile, "It's not about eating, it's about showing that I can digest wealth." The main dish was so small, it looked like a printing error, but he assured that the flavor had the texture of exclusivity. The next day, he posted on Instagram, still hungry, but spiritually fed. At a street market in Barcelona, a European heiress tried to buy fruit. Realizing they didn't accept cards, she raised her wrist and showed her watch. "Can I pay with this? It has Bluetooth." The salesperson laughed, thinking it was a joke. She was offended and said, "In my country, that would be a gesture of digital generosity." She left without buying anything, but posted a story saying, "The experience was rustic, authentic, and slightly traumatic." During a trip to Colombia, an American investor was surprised to see a store accepting bills. He held up a bill and said, laughing, "Do you still use paper money? How cute." The teller replied, "And it works, even without Wi-Fi." The investor was silent for a few seconds and then asked, "But where are the floating account numbers?" These are the types of people who think that economics is an extension of the banking app, and that poverty is just a bug in the system. During a trip to Africa, a French businessman watched the sunset in the desert. He crossed his arms and, with a critical look, asked his guide, "Why are the sunsets here poorer than those on the French Riviera?" The guide, confused, asked what he meant. The Frenchman explained, "The colors are simpler. Maybe you should invest in lighting." A famous influencer went to Greenland to film a documentary about the raw beauty of nature. Upon arriving, she looked at the ice mountains and commented, "The landscape is beautiful, but they could melt it a bit to make it more Instagrammable." Later, he posted a photo with the caption, "Nature is cold, but engagement is hot." On safari in Tanzania, a young herdsman watched a pride of lions resting under a tree. Impressed, he asked the guide, "These lions are amazing. Where do you take them after hours?" The guide replied patiently, "They live here, sir." The boy's eyes widened. "No fences? This is a legal nightmare." A real estate billionaire had a revolutionary idea: to build a house with a view of himself, literally. He commissioned 2 identical mansions, facing each other, separated only by a reflecting pool. When the architect asked why, he explained, "So I can see what would have become of me if I had been even more successful." Now he dines in one house and sleeps in the other, and according to staff, spends much of his time waving at his own windows. A Miami socialite decided she wanted the most exclusive garden on the planet. She hired an architect and said, "I want symmetrical trees that grow on demand, like Uber, but for plants." The professional tried to explain that there was no such thing, but she insisted, "Oh, then create an app. I want flowers that only open when I arrive." She spent millions on a lighting system that mimics the sunrise, just to make the flowers think it's daytime every time she leaves the house. And a young heiress in Dubai, accustomed to heights and luxury, gave an interview complaining about her own apartment. "It's too high," he said. "You can't see the ground below the poor. It loses some of the human connection." When it was suggested that she live on a lower floor, she replied, "It would be disrespectful to the view. These people don't build houses. They build architectural delusions with emotional instruction manuals." An American influencer launched a bag made from bottled air from the Swiss Alps. It cost $15,000 and came with a certificate of authenticity from the wind. In the promotional video, she said, "It's not about carrying things, it's about carrying purity." A follower asked what would happen if the water leaked. She replied, "There would be an energy collapse." At a gala event in London, a billionaire appeared wearing a suit described as sewn with craftsmanship. He told the press, "The fabric doesn't make noise when you walk. It's a suit that respects the inner emptiness of the modern man." When asked the value, he replied, "Incalculable, like the absence of sound." And a Los Angeles heiress created a shoe brand made with vegan leather from animals that died of natural emotional causes. The brand was an immediate hit with celebrities who claimed to feel the animal's peace in every step. A reporter asked how they verified these emotional triggers. She replied, "Leather tells its own story, if you keep your heart open." A visionary entrepreneur decided to open a concept restaurant in New York. The menu didn't have any descriptions of the dishes, just pretentious names like Essence of Absence and Digestive Minimalism. When customers complained that their plates were empty, he calmly responded, "You're not paying for the food. You're paying for the idea of eating." The tasting menu cost $900, and the most popular dish was the vacuum with reduced expectations. A millionaire couple in Monaco returned a bottle of Dom Perignon champagne because, they said, the bubbles were rising too fast. The waiter tried to explain that it was the natural behavior of the gas. The husband replied, "Then switch to a calmer vintage. We're trying to have dinner, not watch a liquid volcano." The sommelier had to serve emotionally balanced sparkling water, and a vegan influencer posted a video that went viral. "I discovered luxury fasting. It's like starving yourself, but with purpose and Wi-Fi." During the purification retreat, she posted 3 times an hour and ended the event by saying, "Nothing is more nourishing than the feeling of control over one's own emptiness." These people don't eat. They perform culinary performances that would make any nutritionist ask for spiritual retirement. An American billionaire donated $1 million to an NGO fighting hunger, but he imposed one condition. The organization's logo had to be smaller than his in campaigns. "I don't want to steal the spotlight from the cause," he explained, "but I also don't want to disappear among the poor." In Los Angeles, a socialite organized a charity auction for women in vulnerable situations. At the event, she won her own diamond necklace for $500,000 and said emotionally, "Love begins with yourself. I am giving self-knowledge in the form of luxury." The necklace was displayed in a museum under the plaque "Honed Empathy," and a young heir declared in an interview, "Helping the poor is essential. That's why I only hire drivers with sad stories. It inspires me to be a better person." When the reporter asked if he knew any of these stories, he replied, "No, but I feel the energy in the rearview mirror." A businesswoman gave a talk on finance in Monaco and began with a sentence that left the audience confused. "The problem with the world is that people talk too much about money, but no one talks about it, money." When someone asked what it meant, she replied seriously, "Money is the plural of abundance. It's when money multiplies because it feels appreciated." She ended her speech by saying that she only accepts payment in positive vibrational frequency, and the audience applauded, unsure if it was a joke or a prophecy. A Los Angeles tycoon mistook his cleaning lady for an image consultant. When he saw her cleaning the floor, he said, "Honey, I love the hand movements. It gives off a vibe of effort. Try making the house look less worked on." When she explained that she was a cleaning lady, he fell silent and replied, "Oh sure, realistic performance, authenticity is the new luxury." And a young bank heir wrote on X, formerly Twitter, "Ordinary people are like NFTs, unique, but with no resale value." The post went viral. He tried to justify himself by saying it was just a philosophical metaphor about the soul market. The next day, he launched a podcast called Spiritual Economy, valuing yourself in the marketplace of existence. These phrases don't sound like they were spoken by humans. They sound like decoded messages from a civilization that believes empathy is a systemic flaw. They don't live on the same planet, they just tour Earth with a visa of unlimited arrogance. While we pay bills, they argue about whether air conditioning should have an annual subscription and whether premium oxygen is tax deductible. The difference is that for them, reality is a whim, and normality is a threat to their status. These billionaires float around like ego astronauts, connected by Wi-Fi, but completely out of orbit, and with each sentence, they prove that the biggest abyss in the world is not economic, it is logic. Which of these stories do you think is true? Or worse, Have you ever met someone who talks as if Earth were a private condominium?